Welcome to the Southern State of Golf podcast. Hi, I'm your host, John, and today I'm super excited to be joined by the CEO of Youth on Course, Adam Heieck. Adam, how you doing today?
I'm great, John. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Southern State of Golf podcast to talk golf and talk about the great things that are going on with Youth on Course. I was very fortunate, had an opportunity to learn about your organization this past summer when an opportunity came about for me to participate in a 100-hole hike out at Old Barnwell in Aiken, South Carolina. And did a whole episode on it and I set a new record for me with steps. I had 40,000 steps that particular day. It was a phenomenal day. It probably, thank goodness, I hope there's no video of me walking the last few holes there. It was not pretty at all, but tell us about Youth on Course. You're in your 20th year this year?
We are the 20th year of the organization. I was the first employee hired, so I've been here a little bit longer than that, but we are 20 years old, yes.
Well, tell us about what is the purpose of Youth on Course?
So we started Youth on Course to really address a hole that existed in the youth golf space, right? So First he had started, maybe a decade earlier and was really just getting off the ground nationally, doing a great job getting a club in kids' hands, right? You had PGA professionals all over public golf courses, kind of providing that initial intake, but cost wasn't being addressed. And so we did a study. This was born out of the Northern California Golf Association, which is based in Pebble Beach, and found that on average, families just couldn't afford to get their kids into golf, especially in the Bay Area, right? Cost of living's high, everything else. And so there was a very simple model created where for $5 a round, kids could go play public golf facilities, and we would use privately raised money as a 501c3 to subsidize the golf courses back a negotiated green fee, right? So if junior rates were in play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they were $20, we would negotiate that rate down to what's called 15. And then we would use $10 of privately raised money to pay the golf course. The kid would pay $5, and you'd be able to go play. And so started doing this in the Bay Area in 2006. Went outside of California about 8 to 10 years later, and gradually moved it east. And then COVID hit, and it was one of those interesting points of like, where is golf going to go? I think we all know where golf went from there. And Youth on Course went with it. And we're now the largest youth golf membership program in the country, 400,000 dues paying members who can play golf for $5 a round at almost 2,300 golf facilities around the country.
Well, I think it's an amazing program and organization that y'all have there. Why do you believe, and I know it's important, and I do understand I think it's awesome. Why is this important? Why should people support Youth on Course?
So the people that do support Youth on Course have this common thread that I think golf has impacted their lives in some way, right? I grew up playing golf for around $5 around the local public golf courses, and I was a baseball player. The friendships I made through golf are still with me today. I think many of us can say the same thing. And I think it's the only organization truly vested in access to the sport, right? It's incredibly expensive to play. And that's what we hear from the thousands of donors that we have who support the organization, is that you're the organization that actually gives kids a chance to fall in love with the sport because they actually get to play it. And that's how we fall in love with sports generally, right? And so while getting them on a driving range is great, we want to get them out on a golf course, right? That's where the magic happens.
Oh, 100%. I mean, kids, they certainly love to play more than they do practice. That's for sure. This is an organization I wish that I was around when I was in the early 90s and 80s. Gosh, I'm feeling old saying all that now. Long time ago, because that would have been fantastic. Because I will say, I do believe that was one of the things that kept me from playing more was the cost. And I see that. I'm a high school athletic director now, and I do see that as that's gonna be something that keeps people from playing, is the cost of it. And so now when you have opportunities to play, to join, I know there's even number of states that either had half price memberships or not as much membership, for youth on course to be able to play $5 rounds. I think is phenomenal, and that really good golf courses, solid golf courses as well. One of my favorite in South Carolina that's part of the Youth on Course network is the Charleston Municipal Golf Course. And I think that is a phenomenal golf course for kids to get an opportunity ages 6 to 18 to play it for $5. I think that's outstanding. And it looks like in 2025 you added looks like over 100 new municipal golf courses. Is that one of your challenges now, trying to add more courses to the portfolio?
It really is, right? Because you and I want to go play at 4 o'clock on a Thursday, right? I mean, remote work and the impacts of COVID are well documented, but the tee time compression, if you will, is certainly real, right? And the pricing of rounds of golf is certainly real. That said, we've got great partners, Bank of America being one of the largest that really provided, funding and infrastructure and help for our organization to go out and sign up more than 100 municipal facilities across the country last year. And with that has come, more than 100,000 new rounds of golf for these kids who have gotten involved. And um, we don't feel like we can promote the organization very well until we have a place for those kids to play. So it's the biggest focus for us, John, is finding golf facilities, golf course operators, golf course owners who understand that at some point the next generation is going to be their core future customer. And it doesn't have to be, Saturday at 11 o'clock. It can be Tuesday at 5:30 in the summertime, right? And let mom and dad come join on a twilight rate and kind of build that community involvement, if you will.
Yeah, and I love how you talk about with the community, different things. Like one thing I liked about Old Barnwell when we had an opportunity to go down there, their head pro, Pat Mickelvick, he helped him give a lesson to our Spring Valley High School golf team, and I know they got a kids course down there that's acceptable or accessible to a lot of different people and kids, and I love how people are trying to give back, through the game of golf. But you're right, accessibility is such a big thing. Your partnership with Bank of America, I believe it's in year two of a 3-year partnership. How did that come about? And that had to be certainly a big thing. I saw where it was talked about a lot during the Masters. That had to be a good bump for the organization.
It certainly was. I mean, there was great alignment with the bank early on. They have 97 core markets across the country and really see themselves, I think, as a viable and integral part of those communities. And so I think we're looking for a partner within the golf space who could make sure that they could activate and make sure that they could provide a large scale community benefit. And so the bank has been a terrific partner. They're a champion partner with Augusta National during the Masters, and so their Golf with Us campaign helped drive, tens and tens of thousands of youth on course memberships that the bank is then offering to pay for as well. And so it's been this enormous win, I think, on both sides, and something that we've really put a lot of time and energy into making sure that the communities within those 97 markets have a place to play golf affordably. And I think it's one of the one of the great consequences of that has been, I think, changing the way golf is seen to some degree. It doesn't have to be elitist, right? It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be something that you reach for. It can be something that you can play just like any other sport. And kind of democratizing golf, if you will, is certainly something that is very firmly on our radar.
Well, I've found I've recently got back into the game within the past couple of years, and I found the people in golf are some of the most generous people I've been around in all of sports, wanting to help people and particularly the youth, wanting to give access because I think they realize we need to. I think you've talked about a couple times growing the game. That's something kind of trite that people talk about, but that's the reality. We do want to continue to grow our game and keep people involved. Another partnership that I think you've got a hold of and love to hear more about it is with Golf Galaxy. I see where you got a program that allows members, they have a sim session for $5 and get a free lesson. That sounds like that'd be something outstanding for kids to get started on.
We are very excited about it. Half the country, it's really hard to play golf during the wintertime in particular. And while this new and burgeoning partnership is all over the country and it's year round, the fact that it can be there can be millions of people coming out of the depth of winter who can then go to a simulator at a Dick's House of Sport or a Golf Galaxy and have an hour simulated session for $5. I mean, we saw tens of thousands of kids over a few months engage in something like that. So we're really, really pleased with the uptake on that. Golf Galaxy and Dick's have been great partners through that. You mentioned the accessibility and places like Old Barnwell who have a dedicated kids course, right? They're they're on Youth on Course, one of the very few private clubs in the country that open their doors. Nick and Pat and Ed and the team there are terrific there in Aiken. Um, and a lot of this is then powered by a great partnership we have with Golf Now, which rounds up every transaction and helps us then fund these subsidies at golf courses. So if you log into Golf Now and book a public tee time, a transaction, the few cents right of every transaction then comes to us, and we put that right back into the local community. So some really great corporate partners that are helping to really drive the growth of Youth on Course.
Well, you also got a little bit of celebrity star power behind you too with Rory McIlroy. I know he
Yeah.
just just recently donated a nice donation to the program. I'm sure that had to help. Talk about that partnership and with Roy.
Yeah, Rory's been fantastic. I mean, and again, it came through the Golf Now, Golf Pass partnership with Versant Media, which was formerly NBC Sports and Golf Channel. And uh, Rory, for the last 5 years, has been somebody that has really played a big part in driving credibility of the organization. And uh, it, that particular contribution was $500,000 came through the relationship with Bank of America and the commercials during the Masters. But what I think really resonated with Rory, as it does many of our donors, was that for every $7 donated, you're going to help us fund a round of golf for a kid. And so Rory was essentially responsible for funding 70,000 rounds of golf. And being able to do that in partnership with the bank, in this partnership with Golf Now on a regular basis is, I think, just something that was an amazing story for us to be able to tell the community. Really helped us on the donor side as well. And clearly is making a huge impact.
Well, I've got to ask, like, how often do you participate in the 100-hole hikes? Do you get involved in it yourself?
I do. I do at least one every year. The feeling that you opened, with that your feet hurt, right? Those last few holes are really just so tough. I it certainly resonates with me. We have we try to do these more on par three golf courses just to make it a little bit easier and attract like a wider audience. But doing them on full length golf courses, I mean, we have people who have walked off golf courses. But for the most part, there's just this huge sense of accomplishment, right? Having done it, and people then feel such this rewarding feeling knowing that, hey, this caused some physical pain, and I maybe I'm not used to raising money, but when you go to your buddies or your family members and it's $1 a hole or it's $5 a hole, and you realize that that actually helps fund a round of golf for a kid. Again, every $7 does that. Pretty cool experience to be able to participate in what is essentially one of the longer days in golf. And we love doing 100-hole hikes around the country. And thank you for doing it, John.
Oh, well, it was a blast. I loved it. It was interesting. You talk about the par three part of the course. We did it at Old Barnwell. I had this game plan of kids course, play the big course, kids course, big course. I realized I played the kids course first, which I think, from my math is right, 15 holes, and then I played the big course. And you know, I was like hole 40, and I already had 25,000 steps. And the big course there at Old Barnwell was That was massive. It's my favorite, probably my favorite course in South Carolina. And I just realized I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can do the big course again. So I finished the rest of it on the kids course, which was still phenomenal, great course. And you're right, there was a sense of accomplishment doing it, and it was really cool that I had a number of different people help support the cause. You know, some people gave $200, some people gave $10, $25, all to help support, you know, kids getting access to golf. And that is one of the things that I so love about the organization. So, what other types of events do y'all get involved in, or other ways to try to raise money for Youth on Course?
The hike is probably the most well known. It's the most national in scope. We have a couple of other golf tournaments that are California based, if you will, but we work through a really nice community of allied golf associations around the country. So, where you are, John, the Carolinas Golf Association is a great partner, and there are local fundraisers that organizations that we're affiliated with run, and really throughout the summer and the fall. And we try and kind of sprinkle those hikes in just after summer, right? When the weather's a little bit better and it may not quite be so hot, especially down where you guys are. Um, but there's just so many different ways to support the organization. The donor base is growing. The increase in the stock market over the last bunch of years has made donating stock a really attractive thing for a lot of people in our community. And then certainly estate gifts as well, right? Placing youth on course and in your estate to further the next generation of golfers is something that has also resonated quite a bit over the last couple of years. So lots of different ways to support the organization, but we try and run it as efficiently as we can and maximize every single dollar that we can going back to the kids.
One of the things I've heard you speak about before, which I really like, you talk about you want to keep things simple. You want to keep what y'all do simple, and though I don't want to confuse simple with easy because those are two different things. Because I don't think what y'all do is easy, but I do think it is simple. Do you want to talk about that philosophy with your organization?
You're right. We really do, right? We want to be able to show you where the money goes, show you the impact on the kids, and so we really focus on making it easy, right? Kids download an app, they pay a nominal fee to join the organization. They walk into a golf course, and in real time, the course operator takes down the number uh, and a cloud-based system, and we can track those rounds in real time across the country. And we don't teach, right? We don't get involved in competition. We run a small internship program in partnership with a Pebble Beach company that's out here out in Monterey County in California every summer, and we have a small college scholarship program that's all need based. But really, it's about access, right? And so every time someone donates $7, whether that's online or for a fundraising event, we're going to subsidize a round of golf for a kid. And this year, we think we're going to subsidize 2 million rounds. So uh, it's the scope is growing, but again, we're trying to make it as simple to understand and as simple to operate as we possibly can.
One of your other programs that you got part of Youth on Course that I don't think probably gets enough attention, which I think is outstanding, is Careers on Course that you do with the Pebble Beach resorts. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's something that we may end up scaling to the East Coast at some point, but Pebble Beach has been an amazing partner. We want to provide that next step for the members, the 400,000 kids. They're an amazing group of individuals. But for that 16, 17, 18-year old who's looking for a part-time job or the first job experience, maybe getting into golf, maybe getting into hospitality, we partnered with the resort. We have 8 kids that we select every year. They're housed within Pebble Beach, and they literally go to work at the golf courses at Pebble Beach, right? So it's Spyglass Hill, it's Spanish Bay, it's Pebble Beach Golf Links, um, and a few others around pro shop operations and hospitality and merchandising and maybe even a little golf course maintenance, right? Getting up at 4 a.m. and seeing how golf courses prepare. And so for a lot of those families, like this is an experience that probably wouldn't happen otherwise. Some of the kids may not have been on an airplane before. Many of the kids haven't worked before, and it's a highly selective process, but something we only run for about 6 or 8 weeks every summer. But it's becoming very, very competitive and has been something that has really resonated with our donor community, and it's fully funded.
I think it's an outstanding program that I'm sure is very beneficial to the young men and young ladies to get an opportunity to do that. Who wouldn't want to spend a internship in Pebble Beach? I mean,
Pretty
good
good, right?
gracious, it's
Yeah.
really good. I know I didn't do that when I was in
Same
high school.
same here. That did not exist when I was growing up.
No, no, I was probably sneaking on golf courses. I probably shouldn't say that at that point in time. But what does success look like for you in your job at Youth on Course?
It really it goes back to that simplistic message about places to play. We are at roughly 20%, a little under 20% of the public golf courses in the United States. We think in order to have the impact that we really can have within golf, within communities across the country, we probably need to be double that, closer to 40%, almost 4,000 places for kids to play. And so I'm really focused on making sure that our team has the resources, to expand that level of access, whether that's raising money, driving awareness of the organization, um, being able to keep pace with technology and scale the organization as efficiently as we can. We've got a tremendous board of directors that's national in scope, and working with them, working with our partners, making sure that we can continue to do this long into the future, because it certainly has resonated with the more communities, more states, more regions we've gotten into over the last 20 years. So I wake up every day thinking, how do we do this better? How do we do this more? And yet, how do we do it so we can scale and be sustainable?
Yeah. How can people get involved with Youth on Course? What if someone's now listening to this podcast that maybe this is their first time? Hopefully, they listen to my other podcast and hear me talk about it. But how would you encourage people to get involved with your organization?
So the biggest thing, honestly, is if you're playing golf at a public golf course, check to see if it's a youth on course facility. You can easily do that on our website. Um, Referrals from the general public tend to resonate a lot, right? People running golf courses listen to current customers, and we've gotten so many golf courses on board who have either called us or we've called them, because someone had, started with an email or a phone call into us about a course that they think we should have, within that. That's probably the easiest way to really truly impact the organization. Getting involved in the 100-hole hike, right? Playing 100 holes of golf in a day and raising a little bit of money doing it is certainly another way. We of course take financial contributions just like any other, charitable organization does, but those three things are probably the easiest, most accessible ways to support the organization in mass.
Yeah, I would encourage people go to your website, youthoncourse.org. I think it's a great setup. I love how you can search the different courses. You can search by state. So if your young daughter or son joins, you're going on vacation. I mean, there's some outstanding golf courses on this list that I've just seen just around in our area. I know here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have Limerick Golf Course, which I think Darius Rucker talks about. That was where he played. Him and his Hootie and the Blowfish guys played when they were growing up here as Gamecocks. Now I know you're a Clemson Tiger, Adam. So tell me a little bit about when your days at Clemson when you were playing golf. Did you have any favorite courses in the area that you like to play?
It's a great question. So Clemson's got a fantastic golf course on campus, the Walker course. And I think when I was at school, I think we could walk 9 holes for like $10. And it was something I tried to do Fridays, after class as much as I could, because it's a phenomenal facility. Uh, but South Carolina is a region where we need more access. I mean, we're deficient in a lot of the markets in South Carolina, and so it's a big focus as we work through that with the Carolinas Golf Association and other stakeholders there. But my time at Clemson was fantastic. Golf in the South and the fact that you can play golf year round and there's so many great tracks available is something I certainly miss living out here in California. It's just different.
All right, last thing, one of the last things I saw, you said your handicap was about an 8. Are you still in about an 8 handicap, or is it better or worse, or where are you at now?
I fluctuate, John, honestly, like somewhere between 7 and 9 usually, and it hasn't been below that in a long time. I just don't play as much as I would like to. When I do play, it tends to be at some really great spots, just associated with generous donors that we have or fundraising events that we're running. But the best times for golf are either with my family, right, playing at our local facility, or we'll go to maybe a board engagement or a donor engagement, and we're playing with members at a local youth on course facility in a given city. And so those happen a few times a year, and those are probably the most fun and rewarding experiences that where I get to play. But it just doesn't happen enough.
I completely get that. Tell us about maybe a recent golf experience you had where where you got an opportunity to play that you were just you kind of like pinched yourself as like, man, I got to do this with because of the game of golf.
So this happened a little over a year ago. We were actually doing a 100-hole hike, and we were doing it at the Hay here at Pebble Beach, right? Pebble's newer, short course. It's on like 7 acres, really, really short. And we're on the probably the 85th hole, and the head pro at Pebble Beach walks over, and we've got a number of supporters out there hiking, and it's kind of the end of the day, and everybody's tired. And he says, "Hey, we're gonna bring some guests out." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? We're almost done. Just give us 30, 45 more minutes and everybody will be finished. It'll be a great culmination to the end of the day. And then if you need to bring out guests," he goes, no, we're going to kind of bring them out in the next 5 minutes. And it was just a little bit of back and forth because it was something that we hadn't planned on. And 5 minutes later, out walks Tiger Woods.
Oh wow.
And, hadn't been seen a whole lot recently, right? Had just had some surgeries and was in town for a fundraiser for his foundation, and he walks in a hoodie and shorts and says hello, and we're finishing. I'm actually playing, and we're on the 99th hole. He plays through. We get to our 100th hole. I'm playing with literally a couple of very close high school friends of mine who I had kind of corralled into this event, and one of my buddies aces the 100th hole on the Hay at Pebble in front of Tiger, and the whole place goes nuts, and everybody's running around, and it's one of those things where you kind of look back and you're like, I can't believe that happened. We've got the photos, and it gets talked about regularly, as you might imagine, on text chains and everything else. But it's one of those cool things that things like that don't happen in basketball, right? They don't happen in baseball or football, and it's one of those unique things about golf that things like that can randomly happen without any sort of planning. It was fun.
That's an awesome story, and I think we'll kind of end right there. That's one thing I love about golf. Some of my favorite memories of me playing golf or being around it just happened when I didn't plan on it happening, least expected. Now, I haven't had the hole in one or anything like that. My 99th hole at Old Barnwell was on hole 99 is where I lost my first ball of the 100-hole
Oh,
hike. And that's what made
no.
me so mad. Like, first of all, I bought like 2 dozen golf balls thinking,
Sure.
yeah, I'm going to lose at least a dozen. And there was no reason why I should have even lost that one ball because where I hit it, I shouldn't have lost it. Not that I'm bitter or anything, but because I tend to lose balls, but I was so pumped at myself. And then on the 99th hole, it was a par three. Should have stayed in bounds. They're on the kids course. But anyway, Adam, I appreciate your time today. We appreciate the service that you pour into. I know youth on course for you. I mean, it is a job, but I also got to feel it's probably a labor of love for you.
It
You
is.
got any? Do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share about youth on course?
Uh, I have great appreciation for the role that I have and then the support that I've received. But I think for those listening, I mean, get your kids involved in golf as much as you can, right? It is my kids are involved, but they play, 5 other sports. Someone said it here recently that golf can be the and sport. It doesn't have to be the only sport
Mhm.
because it's really the only one that you can play, for the rest of your life. So if you're thinking about getting your kids involved, definitely do it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much for your time. I certainly encourage people to go check out the website, youthoncourse.org. Just see all the wonderful opportunities to either have their young kids join the organization or you be a part, join in on a 100-hole hike, or support the Youth on Course in another way. So, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today.